uses it as well as they have 14 counties.
Sorry, I didn't know that was gonna be that loud. Sorry.
14 counties that are using it right now,
Okay.
but it's 22 grand a year.
Maybe EDC Utah has a discounted rate.
Oh,
Is their
geez.
discounted rate.
That's the
Oh, not the
discounted rate.
EDC.
Tyson,
Utah,
can you hear us
the
okay?
tourism.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay. I don't know if Craig is planning on coming or not. No one responded to stuff, but I'll go ahead and start the meeting so we can get started. And our little technology gal is in a training class, so I'm gonna double now as, there's Craig. Yes, fantastic. Craig is here and he can start the meeting. You're in charge. He almost got off the hook. You should have walked right out the door when I was.
Yeah, I should have just stayed out in the hallway. It's been better. Where were we?
That's it. Right there, number one. Welcome.
Oh, welcome all. This is the County Economic Opportunity Board. Should we do a roll call? Start with John.
Present.
All right, Ryan,
I'm here.
and then Jill.
Uh-huh.
All right, Stephanie, Brittany Lopez, and Stephanie is here also. I'm Craig Smith. All right, moving on. I am sorry for being late. Had a meeting that went a little bit long with the weather. Meeting minutes.
You got Tyson online too.
Oh, Tyson. Welcome, Tyson.
Yeah, I'm here.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Any changes?
Chairman, I reviewed the minutes and I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. I haven't reviewed them, but I'll second it.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The Better City Economic Development Report.
We got two pieces. The first one is this business resources guide that we put out a couple years ago. I thought I'd just quickly send out again, but I got looking at all the names and faces, and turns out half the people in the state have changed. So I updated everybody, and there'll be a couple more edits coming out. The real question I've got is, there's a lot of information here. I've worked on this with Jess Clifford also, just to have a kind of a one place people can go to for resources. How do we get this out to people? What's the best way to do that? I mean, there's a lot of links in here, so a printed copy is less valuable than something online. I just want to get some suggestions on where you think we ought to place this.
So my first comment on it was, I wanted to say that the color scheme needs to change because that's our old county color scheme, and I'm sure that's why you went with that, but it looks like you changed the logo on that.
Oh.
So that needs to change. And then maybe that sounds picky, but that's more in line with the school district colors, so. And then as far as where to put it, this is one thing I wanted to bring up if we had like an open comment time later. I wanted to talk to you guys today about maybe starting an economic development page that would be, as we've been trying to connect with the other cities and towns to bring economic together as a whole. If we could find one landing zone, like I don't want to take away from what other cities have, but maybe there's a connection to each city's on there, whether that's housed as an individual Tooele County Economic Development page itself, and then all of us have links off of our municipality pages or what, I don't know. But to me, something like that would be a good place.
Okay.
But it's I've been looking for grant opportunities for us to maybe get that done. And then we could use maybe some of our funds as matching funds to get that development of the website, if that's something we want to look to the future. I don't know. I was going to actually pick your brain, John, to see if you guys had something like that where you came from that was just for economic development. So people don't have to dig deep into everyone's.
Yeah. No, we did when I was in Fountain Hills, like we started an economic development page. And then just in the time that I've been in Tooele, we kind of added on like a separate little area. So, yeah.
It'd be nice if we had like a cohesive where whoever was looking could go straight to that.
Yeah,
So
but see, that's the thing. So it's like you could have, like we have an economic development page, but then like what do you do for Grantsville and Erda and Lake Point? Is it just gonna go to their website or what's it gonna do?
That's what I wanted. Well, and I don't want to take away from what Ryan's doing, but that's where I think something like that should go, since it covers everything. So either we have it's an alone standalone page, and then maybe, and then we all have links from our own pages to that website, or everyone can put stuff onto that page. We just have to work out the details of how that happened. Like who overlooks it? Is it Tooele County IT department that helps with that? Is it cities? Like how do we do that? I mean, or do we just outsource a company to do that for us? So I just wanted to know if I have permission to keep looking into that for this group, and if that's something you guys are interested in.
I think that would be really smart.
I love the idea of it. I mean, so I went in a rabbit hole there, started clicking on links. There is a lot of information in that. For Urda City, quite frankly, economic development, that will probably be our entire page. I mean, that will be what we have. Now, if collectively we wanted to do something bigger, certainly I'd be supportive of that, but I don't know how that steps on the toes of Tooele County, Tooele City, Grantsville. I like the idea of doing one.
Well, I think that's the mindset that we have to, this group has to, we're not stepping on toes. We're here to help
Right.
each other. And so whatever we can do is to put everything in one place. But I just want to make sure we have the buy-in from all the communities, so it doesn't look like, I never want it to feel like the county is taking over, right? Like I want it to be like the county's trying to bring it all together. That's where I'm at with it.
In the interim, while we get that worked out, could we just, on Tooele City's economic development page, here's a link to the Tooele County Economic Report. Same for Grantsville, same for Urtis, everyone just link to that.
Absolutely.
And then
Are
we
you okay
ramp
with
up
putting
and
that on your page?
get everything, you know, if we get its own landing page or its own site. But in the meantime, if we have that on every municipality and entity, a way to get to that for now.
I think that's good as long as we make sure that the content stays updated on it. So I know none of us like to have stuff on our pages that is outdated.
Yeah.
So as long as that we stay on top of it and say maybe it's like a quarterly look and we're like, hey, where are we at? Is this still updated and is this what we want it to say? I think that would be good. And I actually think maybe you could put it on the chamber page as well.
Yeah,
So-
no, I agree. I think there needs to be a link.
I'll take ownership for updating this. The one thing I have to wait on though is my color scheme person has just had a baby. So give me a few
Well,
months.
I can forgive you for the old color scheme, and we can use the old one for a while. It's fine if we can get the information updated, because the more we can get out, the sooner the better. So
At least I did change the logo. I got that right.
That's right.
Very nice.
The one thing that I think would be nice to be added in there because there was links for business licenses.
Yeah.
We should also put in links for Urda City, Lake Point.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rush Valley, Vernon,
they
if they have
they go
anything.
through here.
They go through the county? Okay.
So add links and logos for Urda, Lake Point.
Urda and Lake Point, and I think other than that, everyone would be
Pretty well
covered.
Okay.
Because Tooele and Grantsville already had theirs in, if everyone else goes through the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we need to take a vote, or are we good just to say that we're gonna work on putting these on all the websites?
I don't know if that was an action item. We can if you
I'm
would
not-
like, but I think that's just direction.
I just wanna make sure everyone's comfortable with it. It seemed like there was a consensus in the room. Does anyone not wanna
Yeah.
put this on their websites? Okay.
What I do want to know though, I mean, we absolutely want to put it on our site. What will we just link to? Is there the one that the link that you provided? Well,
Right now, this sort of just sits on our server. I think it probably ought to sit on the county server and everybody link to that. Does that make sense?
That's fine.
so
Is
will
that
we
one
send
place?
something out
Yeah.
that provides that link?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Once I get updated from Ryan, I'll send it out to all of you, and you can work with your IT people to figure out how to put it on your own website.
And we could provide a link to our server too, if you want to do that, if you'd rather. But either way, I'll take ownership of keeping it updated.
Okay,
And I just wanna be quite sure that I understand, so you're saying there will be a link that will take it to the county page with that PDF on it, is that right? Cause the mayor and myself would not want like a link of a document to open just from within the city's page.
well, yeah, it would have to be that way so that we can make sure the updates happen still, cause if you just take the link, then we
Right.
can't,
Okay,
we can't
yeah, I
up-
just wanna make sure.
are you okay with that? Is that the right way to do it?
That's fine, yeah, I'm just
Okay.
saying, I don't want like just that particular PDF link.
No,
It won't be a PDF, will it? Cause it's gotta be interactive, or are there
I think
PDFs
it'll
that
be
are
you're
interactive?
talking about a whole page of
Yeah.
which you'll have a link to this
well, we won't have the
document.
whole page yet though. Right now, it's just gonna be that document. So let me talk to my IT guy. I don't know how that stuff works. So let me see how he can put it on there so we can make sure that as things update, Ryan can still get in and update it, and that everyone has an updated. I don't want everyone to have these different links on
Right.
everyone's sites that some are changed and some aren't. That's too much to manage. So we'll make sure it's in a format that can be updated all at once. Is that good?
Automatically, so the rest of us don't have to worry.
Absolutely.
All right, so is everyone in agreement with that? All right, sounds good. Anything else on the resource guide?
The second thing I had is this economic report, which will not be public, right? John?
I wanna make sure it's not.
This is not to be put on the website. This is really just more for the county management to know what's going on and so forth. We've actually added quite a bit to this and are, still editing a few items on it. So that would be just something we could publish every quarter or so.
That's the one we talked about last month.
Yeah.
That has like the Gini
Yeah.
index, and
Mm-hmm.
I made a couple TikToks with that data the other day.
Yeah, the sad thing is, there's some real shining things in there that we should be able to use to highlight our community, but if it's internal, we can use those things. And some of the things that,
We'll
Aren't
pick
quite
the
as
good
great.
stuff to
I don't think
highlight.
there's a problem with pulling stuff out of it.
I don't think there's a problem with pulling stuff out of it, but you know what I'm saying, when you see the educational attainment rate 12 percentile, I mean, that's horrible. I mean, you just can't have that out there.
that's not the shining star.
No.
Although, surprisingly enough, there are some companies that might like, I don't know if I'd like to see that, but it's not discouraging to them. But that's something that as groups, we could pick and choose what to share. There was one company that was looking at coming in and is coming to the county at last report. But one thing they didn't want is everybody with a college degree. They said, we need blue collar workers. We'll pay them well, but we're not looking for people with master's degrees. We need someone who's willing to come work technical school maybe.
Right.
So they wouldn't be afraid of that.
Right,
It's,
but I think it's presented in a better fashion in that pager, 8-pager that you did or whatever, that talks about, trade school attainment, and that kind of talks about the associates and things like that. But just to say 12 percentile, I mean, any way you look at it doesn't look good.
it looks very shocking.
Right.
I don't think it tells the true story of what we have here. So, yeah, I agree. It's not a general circulation.
Libraries per capita, how many libraries do they want us to have?
Right?
Well, Stansbury would like a library. I
Yeah,
hear
they
about it all the time.
The unique thing about this county is you're really an appendage to the rest of Wasatch Front. So a lot of the things they would expect to have in a place of 70,000 people, you've got around, Also, that's the bad news too. You have to travel quite a ways to get it.
That's one of the things, and maybe it's just me, quite frankly, that's something that's dying. If you wanted information, you used to have to go there to get a book or to research, get information. Well, the internet now, everything you could want is easily, readily available, so.
Our library has some pretty cool things though available, and the ebooks that you can just get on demand is, there's
Yeah.
I feel like libraries have really adapted to the 21st century. They
Yeah.
have a lot of activities there.
They're great learning resources, but they're also something I believe will struggle in the future, just.
It seemed like
things
last
change.
time on there was some stuff in that we were waiting for some updates from you on, Ryan. Do you remember what those items were? I was just reading the minutes to see if I could figure
I
it out.
had several that we've actually put on the, I can't find where the link is, on the online, dashboard. We made a number of changes there and added the things you were talking about last time, plus some others.
I remember there was a statistic about housing affordability, something, there was a 50% threshold and we wanted to show something that was less than that. But I don't remember the details, because that's
Okay.
my game, but.
Yeah, just take a look at the dashboard. There's a link in here somewhere. On the yeah, right on
Yeah,
top.
right at the top.
Very top. Yeah, go to the dashboard and wander through that and just see if there's anything missing from it or something that's just not clear or looks a little weird. Just let us know. We're designing that so that every quarter, all you have to do is just push a button and it goes and finds all the sources in the government and so, or wherever else where that data came from and updates all the charts.
Yeah, there was one thing I found interesting in there, that from age of 20 to 34 is a population that we're kind of missing.
Yeah.
When you look at that, and I don't know if it's because certain populations going to college, finding jobs. I don't know what that was, or if it's just an anomaly, but.
My
it
kids in
seemed-
that age have all left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine too. That's what I was just thinking, that,
That's pretty typical of
They can't get a job
rural
here.
communities. The kids graduate from high school and they have no place to work. So they leave and just don't come back. And that's what that chart, you know, the one of those kind of, got a pyramid chart with a waist on it, that's what that one is saying. Is that, you know, there's a gap missing in the middle where a lot of people, and that's just, you know, the kids just don't have jobs. And as whatever the jobs are, blue collar or otherwise, we gotta bring back also about 25,000 workers into the county that have to travel around the mountain to get a better job. And I think there's about half of those travel more than an hour to do that. So bringing jobs to the county will help kids stay or come back from college. It'll also help bring people back who have to travel now. As I recall, the county is the worst by far in the state in terms of people having to commute long distances. Not just, again, geographic function, but, you know, as we get more jobs coming here, that's kind of our number one job. Number one opportunity is bring jobs here, but not have them bring a lot of people in with them and not use a lot of water.
Use who we've got here.
How many times do you shower?
All right, anything else on the report and dashboard?
I guess my question would be, I know that like our county council would be pretty interested in a presentation of this data. Do you believe that like the other cities may want some type of, if we could work it out that Ryan could go to your council meeting and do some kind of presentation, would that be something that you guys would Tooele City or Grantsville be interested in something like that, or is that necessary for you?
No, I don't think so. If everything's gonna be, I mean, I just don't want certain things out there. So, I mean, I would say no.
How about Grantsville?
I'm curious what you would not want out there.
Some of the education stuff, and then, you know, some of the commute times and this and that, I mean, I wouldn't want that on, I don't think that needs to be out there.
out in a public meeting or out in just to the
Well,
council?
she's
in
saying, I
general?
thought you just said about a meeting to the council.
Have a meeting with them, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
If it was just a meeting behind closed doors or something for maybe one or two, that it's not a violation of public meeting, then sure.
I wonder, I just don't know I don't know what the pulse for this kind of stuff is in the other, but I just think that to show, the other cities and communities, like the councils and, chairmen, what's happening, I think it's, important to share some of what's happening and hear some of the data collection that we can use to help drive some of this. I don't know if all communities understand how important some of the economic development factors are and some of the things we need to look at, and so I think that the dashboard could be beneficial. So maybe it's not, individually going to each city, maybe we get like you asked the mayor, who would you want to sit in this from the council? Cause the reason I say this, they're the ones helping fund what we need for this, right? They're the ones gonna approve the projects coming in, so the more education that we can give councils on what the needs are for economic development and how it all ties together with the transportation and all those types of things, I don't know that they always all understand that, so, maybe we set a meeting, we find a common date and we can get a group here and do something like that. Would that probably be a better format?
Yeah, that'd probably be better.
Okay.
So we've put together an economic development board, kind of in Grantsville that we had to do for the Rural Economic Opportunity Grant. We had to put this board together. And I think that this would be great information for that board to hear. And so maybe that's a more appropriate place than maybe a city council meeting.
Who are the members of that board? I'm just curious.
There's our finance director for the city, our zoning director, myself, a lady named Sarah Moore, because you had to have just residents, and then a local builder, Mike Colson.
Okay. Well, so maybe like, Chairman, maybe the action item could be is that everyone sends who they would like to invite to that meeting. And then I'll head the meeting, work it out with Ryan, because I think Ryan's the right person to present it. But if by the next meeting, we could just get the names back of who they would want to invite. So if you want to invite the whole board, I think that's great. You know, so, and if that's who's helping drive the budget or the whatever incentives you have for your community, that's just, I don't know if I was leading this in the wrong way, you guys.
So I guess the first question is, do we feel comfortable having a meeting with our economic opportunities boards to come get a presentation from Ryan? Sounds like you'd be interested in it.
I'd be interested.
Or the city could send a couple councilmen to that. Is there benefit in it? Would there be?
Well, I just don't know why we have this great information that we're not gonna share.
That's not being shared with
anything
anybody, yeah.
Right, like, I agree with John that maybe this isn't all public information, this isn't something you just wanna put a link to and say, hey, check this out, you know? But the people that are helping drive the economic development within the county need to see it so they understand that we're working on a fact-based document here.
I largely agree. Would a couple of county commissioners and other staff members, because I think there could be value in it. Like I say, these people are largely the ones paying the bill for what we're doing. Maybe we should somehow be showing them, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what's available here.
Well, and it's how they can support the growth that we're trying to work for, the
Yeah.
smart growth we're trying to work for, so.
And puts them all on the same page, what the data says and what we need to do about it.
I'm just thinking back to when we had the secret shopper tourism guy, and I don't know how that meeting came together, but I was there and it was absolutely fascinating to hear all of those things with all of, with so many stakeholders. I thought that was really interesting. And I don't know if that's the sort of meeting that you're thinking of,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I thought that was great. And he told us some things we could work on. And
How do you feel about it, John?
That's fine.
Okay. All right, I think that would be great. Is there anyone opposed to that? What kind of time frame?
Well, why don't I'll just reach out to everyone and just kind of myself and just get everyone that's on this board and see if they can tell me who they like invited.
Who would they like invited from
Yeah,
their?
I don't think we're gonna be able to do this. Right now it's like, I think we're like at least a month away or 2 months away before we can pull this meeting together anyway.
I would suspect 2 months.
Yeah. So, yeah, cause it's still legislative session, it's conference season. If you guys haven't noticed, there's a million conferences that are leaving for, so we're a couple months away, but I can start collecting who would be on the list and get like a save the date put out there and so then on Ryan's calendar, so he's ready to.
All right, we should probably reach out to Lake Point also and give them an opportunity to send a couple of representatives.
Okay, I'll get the list of who's actually on, I don't know who's actually on this board with us, so I'll get that and then reach out to the other cities.
All right, Anything else on this item? All right, moving on to grants. Has everyone had a chance to look at the grant applications and
So I made a draft application and it looks a lot more cumbersome than our other one, but it's just, I changed the format. I'm not saying we have to do this, I just don't sleep, so, but I'll say my thought process, of why I changed it the way I did. And I changed the scoring based off of our last conversation of what we're really trying to achieve. And this isn't what we would actually use. I'd give it to Steph to make it a fillable PDF. But I created a document that has, oh, you need one too, huh? Sorry, Tyson, I should have emailed you one.
Okay, thanks.
I tried to outline just on the front, because sometimes I think when we just put out a simple application, we lose what we're looking for and it gets confusing for the people that are applying. So I tried to put everything on front that we would be looking for as far as like, this is why you get the grant and these are the qualifications, these are what you need to do it, this is who you can ask questions to. And then the biggest thing I changed on here was how we rated it. And I think, and this is just my opinion, so we still vote on all of this. And again, you guys can tweak everything, it's just a thought I had. I think whatever the business owner's willing to be put in should be higher than the number of new jobs created. Any of the grant applications we take for like tourism or anything else, we always take into account what they're willing to put into it, because then it shows a willing party that wants to invest in it. And we know a lot of these small businesses aren't going to create a lot of jobs. It's about creating synergy within the community and trying to have a better economic impact that way. So that's just my thought process, but it's simplified a little bit, but not simplified too, because it's more pages. So, and if you hate it, it's fine too.
I just have the grant that we get from the rural county grant, they really push hard that that's about growing jobs. So just make sure that
We're
that's.
still hitting the criteria because it's still a criteria on there. It's just not the heaviest weight.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying we gotta keep it.
I could be wrong. Like, we don't have to do it that
Well,
way.
especially for these little startups like the dog grooming, I mean, they really do just have themselves. But if they can get it going and then
Yeah.
that gets them, gives them a jump start to then add another employee. But I think some of them just need that jump start,
Yes,
somebody
I
that we
think the
looked at
grant
last
is
year.
maybe the first step, and having additional employees might be further down the road, but this gives them a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed yesterday at the Chambers luncheon with GOEO. We had what, I bet 25 people there?
There were actually 35.
Interested business
Yeah.
people, figuring, how do we get grants? So it's kind of hard to figure out why they're not jumping in on this grant, which is,
Well, and I don't think the chamber's an avenue that we've used too, right? So like, there's just different, we need to look at things differently. But like I said, this is just a draft, it's just an idea. I don't care one way or another what we do. It's just an idea I had.
When does this go into effect? When is the application has it begun? The process begun?
As soon as you guys are ready to.
How would we measure community impact and economic contribution?
They would have those numbers based on their sales, I would think, in their sales numbers. That's how
I haven't made it to the next page, so.
That's how I anticipate that, like, what's your sales increase, what's your customer count per day, like,
Okay.
those type of things. I could be wrong, though. What do you think?
Sales tax to be received.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So, and they should have an estimate of that at least.
And they usually can't figure it out, but, I think if you're, the finance director in every municipality gets sales tax reports every, quarter, depending on how often businesses report. And, if it's like a coffee shop or a soda shop or whatever, you can kind of look and see, you know, what you can expect to receive, and if it's not much, you know, it's really kind of a waste of time.
Well, if it's a service-based business, then sales tax won't really be a factor. I don't know why I don't even own a dog, I don't know why I have the dog grooming business that we had last year on my brain, but I just remember.
I think that sales tax was on the last one, I didn't add that on there, that was one of the other requirements, it's just the format.
I agree that sales tax is of value to our community,
Yeah.
so maybe the dog groomer doesn't get the highest score.
Is there,
I don't know if I understood the assignment, I just thought we were all supposed to create an option.
No, I think,
Sorry.
is there a value in putting how much grant funding is available to people for them to?
It could be.
and are we still, oh, sorry, let's
No.
answer that question, then I'll
Yeah.
have my next question.
Yeah, no, we're good.
I don't know the answers to that.
We.
Have we set the budget for that,
Oh,
do you know?
Yes, I believe we did 42,000, and I know there's some left over from last year that will roll over, I think about 90, between 9 and 10,000.
and are we still looking at having them spend the money and then send us receipts and get reimbursed?
It has to be reimbursement, that's put onto us by the state.
We had some discussion about people don't have the money up front, but I kind of think you need to have a little money up front to start a business.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you guys weren't there, but yesterday at the Chambers thing with GoEO, they're talking about how people can write in a letter for $500. And it's like, I mean, that seems worthless, and it's what follow-up is there gonna be? What did you use that $500 for? What proof is
Free
required?
money, it seemed to
It
me.
just seems like a disaster.
All right, and the $500.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, just go home and do a chat GPT or whatever, that you're starting a business or whatever, and get $500, like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but I think it has to be all post-performance.
Okay.
But if
Well, I think it
there's
should
a portion we can give up front, we can look into that. I don't know, Rochelle's the expert in
Yeah,
that.
but then if they don't do anything, there's no getting it back. I think it should be post-performance.
Yeah,
I
I,
don't know if it would be a good idea to make that more clear maybe on the first page, because I think some of the small businesses don't realize that.
That's true. I think we should really specify that.
yeah, there's, quite frankly, anything that wasn't post-performance, I'm just one vote, but I'd vote against it, because the money will just disappear. They'll send back expenses that aren't eligible. There's no way of recouping it.
I paid my car payment with it, so I
Yeah.
could go to work.
Or we had the guy, you know, turned in the receipt for tires on his pickup.
That's what it was, his tires, not car payment.
And
Yeah,
if
I
it,
remember how many times I came back, like, they're asking if this is an eligible expense.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Can you vote on this? And
yeah, so I think that has to be in there. I also think it should be very clear up front that, you know, these funds are reimbursed after you've spent the money and you turn in eligible receipts. And it might need to say, if you have any questions whether an expense is eligible,
All first.
please ask, call first. I don't know if it needs to be in bold writing at the very top, but it needs to be stand out, I think.
Well, it might be important to put in that first area, that they need to be specific in what their intent is on spending, you know, just equipment, inventory, or supplies. What kind of equipment, what kind of
What are these
inventory?
specific, and it's a little bit more work going through and evaluating them, but probably worth it.
Well, and I think it would make it easier to evaluate.
Yeah.
I mean, like, time-wise, longer, but we can really figure out what they're doing.
What value may really be added. Other issues I see on here, there's no amount that I see. And I don't know if did we set the amount?
you guys still need to do that, an amount, and then I don't know how you wanna approve the application, but as soon as it's approved and we set dates, I'll get it uploaded so we can start
Okay.
reviewing them.
Last year we did 10,000. I believe the year before that, it was 5,000. And we upped it to 10 because we didn't have enough applications to even, fill the money we had. Any thoughts from the group on what that number should be?
Tyson's raising his hand as well, by the way.
Oh, Tyson, let's hear.
You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, I couldn't make it in today. But then you bring up some options, yes. Could possibly give this business some funding, some opportunities for those funding.
It'd be really interesting too to hear Jess's, or, you know, the Small Business Development Center, what their perspective would be on what would be helpful to, you know, maybe there's some criteria there. Have you already worked with them, Brittany, to know?
He's supposed to be on this board,
Oh,
so he didn't join us.
What do you want, wait, he's supposed to be on it right now, or?
Tyson, I just sent you that in your email if you wanna review what this, so. Is this even a format we wanna go with, or we wanna keep it like this simple and then just make sure we have the things that you guys have added on it? And I don't mind, I think it's good to add what other grants have you applied for? And just see what other things that they've applied for and have them list those out. That kinda shows an investment, right, like they're really trying, if you
Yeah.
know.
They've put some pen to paper and
Yeah,
Maybe
and then if you.
what have you applied for and received or expect to receive?
Yeah, you can do that, yeah.
I know on the third quarter sales tax, that's one of the things we look at pretty hard. Are you making other applications or is this simply it? And if you're receiving other or grants to help you, that actually can help bump you up the list.
If you guys like this format, and if you, I wrote down some notes, but if you wanna take the time and look over it a little bit more, I could just add on what you guys are asking for, and then send it out to the group, and then by the next meeting, we could have a draft to vote on, maybe?
Yeah.
I like this format.
I'm a simple man and this format I actually like. It
Yes,
seems
it's
less,
simple and easy.
This doesn't look complex at all to me.
yeah, it's,
But I might be missing content, so just if you guys feel fine with just emailing me what you think's missed, I'll add it to it, and then before the next meeting, I'll send it out for review, and then we can vote on it in the next meeting.
I like that, and we should have it as an action item to approve it on the next meeting and a date to open up the grants, because we do need to spend some of that money.
And email you, Brittany, or her?
Email me, or you can just email it all into the group, cause if you say something, but you also think that too, and I'm like, hey, thanks, got it, you know, just, maybe we can just do it in the, if everyone loves chain messages, right?
If it comes to the group, it'll probably help for a better discussion.
So I think we've done that several times where we're like, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll email these out, or I'll actually just have Stephanie email them to you guys, and then just send me back corrections, notes, or additions, or takeoffs, or whatever you want. Or redo the whole thing, I don't care.
As long as we can have a format to look at in the next meeting that's really close.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think the grant amount of $10,000 seems appropriate, like keeping that the same. I don't see that
Up
needs
to 10,000.
Yeah,
Up to.
up to
I mean,
10,000.
because a lot of them aren't gonna have 10,000 to invest to wait for a reimbursement.
Yeah.
So it's gonna kind of self-regulate itself, I think, based on what their means are and that initial.
Based off of our last year's, I would agree with that.
Yeah, we had the question last year that came up. Maybe it was in the board, I can't remember. But if you are not awarded the entire amount, can you still move the project forward? If someone asks for 10,000, but we only have 4 or 6 to give them, does that kill the deal? So maybe some language like that, that just a yes or no, you know, if you need 8,000 for this and that's, you need that, or the whole deal goes south, might be good to know.
Awesome.
I think on the points system there that you have, that maybe the increase in sales and revenue should be, by having the grant, should be higher valued than the number of jobs created, just like we discussed before, because it might not initially create jobs, it's just getting momentum going, so I think that should be a higher point criteria than the number of jobs for a very small business just trying to start out, having a higher point value.
The other thing I'll remind us of is, when we do the final report on the money that funds all of this, the number one thing they're saying is how many jobs are created. So.
Yeah, we probably better keep that.
I'm not saying eliminate it, I just think that I
I
don't want
lowered it.
people to be discouraged, cause they're like, oh, I'm not gonna get this, cause it's not gonna create another job.
Mhm.
But maybe the next year, because of, you know, the resources they received this year, it gets to that point. I just don't want people to be discouraged, thinking, well, I'm not gonna get this because,
We've got 15 for new jobs and 20 for increase in sales.
yeah. I don't know, maybe it's just fine with the.
Well, it was 25, I think, on the original application for the job creation.
Okay.
It was 20 or 25. I didn't change the criteria. That's what we had on the last application, because I think those are all things we have to have there. I just changed the way they were weighted.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we weighted them out the last time, it was hard to award it to people because nobody was creating very many jobs because it was very small businesses.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
And maybe it goes up to 15. I mean, there's people I've talked to, you know, over like by PID, like smaller kind of warehouse, industrial kind of places, but they say, oh, you know what, we need, you know, a $30,000 piece of equipment and that would up us by this much. And then we'd hire, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 more people, opposed to like she was talking about the dog room or something. Maybe it does need to be a little higher. And then you're saying 42 plus 10 is 50, 60, whatever. So then, you'd still get 4 or 5, I don't know, maybe.
that actually makes sense though, 'cause so if for the state, you know, the creating the jobs is such a big thing, if we get I know we wanna take care of the small businesses, you know, but we haven't been able to pay them out, cause they're not able to meet the requirements. So if we're able to get one of the businesses, just at least one there, and they're able to create 10 jobs off of the $15,000, that's a pretty big win on our side.
Mhm.
So I actually think that's really smart, John. So, can we go that high? You know,
How high?
15,000? It just limits what we can do,
Yeah,
okay?
I think that's up to you guys.
Because if somebody's matching, you know, the 15 or whatever, that tells you they have the funds and they're not just some shoddy business that's gonna go out, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I agree.
As I remember from our last discussions, we can set that number whatever we want it to be.
I think so.
Well, you could even with your number of new jobs created, is that annually? Is that over the course of 2-3 years? You could say,
That's a good
you
idea.
know, elongate the timeframe of how, and maybe you were not even,
It has to be within the grant cycle. So,
okay.
since it's like the year of the grant. So within this year that you receive this grant, how many, right? Ryan, is that what it is? How many jobs
Okay.
has this created? When they give their reporting back to us for us to report to the state.
They have to report for 18 months, so.
Okay.
Yeah, given how much we're giving out, if we say 5 jobs, that's really gonna be good. In the past, we've had a lot more than that. Because sometimes you get a big company who wants to have a little bit of help, and they add a whole bunch of people. So we're okay as long as we have at least 5 or 10 jobs
Yeah.
in total. Because that's all, our report is just simply, here's the total, and here are all the people we gave money to. Anything I missed on that, Stephanie, as far as that report goes? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Steph will send this out, and then if you guys can just email in the group, and then I'll make the changes to the application and share it back with you all before our next meeting, and then we can vote and make little tweaks if we need to.
Let's do that.
Does that make everyone happy?
Is everyone okay with move forward that direction.
Yeah, good job.
All right.
So much easier to do, to critique something like this than to create it. So the fact that you came with it is awesome.
Well done.
ADD is a great thing to live with.
All right, thank you. And yeah, thank you for creating it, giving us something to start tearing apart. Not that we,
No, Terry.
I don't have feelings, I've been in leadership for far too long.
I don't have feelings, that's the quote of the day.
I don't have feelings anymore, unless it comes from my kids, they hurt my feelings. They're the ones that have that power.
A lunch and learn event discussion.
Okay, so I'm super excited. So the county contracts with a group called LSI that does grant writing for us, and they help find grant writing. And we had our like kickoff with them last week. We have like this yearly kickoff where we review all our projects. Their vice president, Bill, said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but we have all these free economic development things that can help small businesses, different programs. And so Rochelle and I kind of listened to him, and then I said, well, I just kind of like a demo of that to see what it is. And then I went down my rabbit hole in my head where I was thinking, well, that'd be fun if we partnered with the chamber and did a lunch and learn. And then I was like, oh, cool, we have money with the CEO board. We can actually pay for the lunch and learn. I don't have to put that onto the chamber. So number one, I'm having a demo of these next week. If anyone wants to join to see, there's 3 different kinds of, some of them are through GoEO, so it might be what you guys already saw yesterday, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there, I was in another training. There's several different things that small businesses can use to help them with resources for economic growth. So my thought is one, let's take a look at it to see if these are things that we want to get out there and share, and then utilize the chamber and their relationships with the businesses and have a lunch and learn where LSI would come in and they would teach the businesses about these economic opportunities that they could have. So
That'd be great.
That would be great, especially if we had all of our grant applicants
yeah.
go to learn how to
Yeah.
really be successful
Yeah.
when they start.
So, like I said, I set up a meeting because I wanted Jared from the chamber and our chairman to see it. So next Tuesday, I have a meeting set up. If anyone wants to join, I'll send you the link and you can join and watch the demo as well. I don't think it should take more than an hour. But once we see it and if we think it's going to be beneficial, then I'd like to do that if you guys are comfortable with spending a little bit of money and feeding people and teaching them.
It probably wouldn't be a lot of money, and it might very well advance what we're trying to do.
What time's your meeting at?
You know what? Good question. It's next Tuesday at, let's see, 3:30.
The 25th at 3:30.
Can that be
I'd
virtual?
love to be there.
It is virtual.
Oh, super.
So do you guys want me to add you on that?
Yep.
Please.
Yep, absolutely.
This guy's gonna be like, who are all these people you just added on this meeting? Okay,
This was a demo, you bringing the whole county?
yeah, okay, I will add you guys on this meeting and then, if you can join, great. If not, I can see if they can record it and we can share it. I think it's free. They won't charge us for it either. The first thing he said is, I'm not a billable employee because this group's really expensive, so we have to like cut back our time that we talk to them. So I'm like, well, I'll do it if I don't have to pay for you. So anyway, so it'd be awesome if it's beneficial, so.
I think long-term, as you have more of these kinds of things, you'll start seeing people getting to know each other and forming almost a group. There's
No.
a lot of corporations have like a young presidents organization they belong to. They just get advice from each other. And I think this would really be helpful to start getting people knowing each other who are entrepreneurs in the county.
Yeah.
It really is beneficial. When I went to ICMA, which is our International City and County Manager Association meeting this last fall, I got into a special program that was just for assistant managers. So they picked just 20 assistant managers, but they have a young professionals program, and then they buddied us each with a young professional. And so it's been kind of fun to have my little mentor, like my little buddy. But it was really cool. So I love that because I learned from my mentor too, you know. So anyways, it's great.
All right, anything else? Nothing? Well, I'd accept the motion to adjourn then. All right, it's been moved, I'll second, all in favor? Aye, we're adjourned.
Jill.